today, our next debate is going to be between Wi-Fi Gospel and Daniel, and they are going to be debating the topic, um, is the Christian God good? Um, is the Christian God good? So, hey, good to see you guys. I'm sort of looking at my document, trying to get everything in order. Is the
Is the
Christian God
Christian
good?
God good?
Oh, I
Oh,
think
I
Daniel,
think
you might
Daniel,
have
you
an
might have an
echo.
echo.
Oh man. Okay, let me try again.
Okay, one more
Okay,
time. Sorry about that. TikTok can be like wonky and stuff. But really quick, I will remind everybody, please tap your screens, like the live. That gets more people in here to watch these debates. And I appreciate all of your support. Thank you for the gifts. Especially thank you for like gifting the guests who are here debating. I really appreciate that. I want the guests to benefit from these kinds of events as much as me, or even more so than me. So thank you guys for that support. Continue to tap and like the live. And we appreciate the gifts, but mostly we appreciate you guys being here. So thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
How's that? Is that
We're still running an echo, Daniel.
All right, give me one last try, all right? One last.
Or if it doesn't work, I won't speak when you're speaking. I'll like mute while you talk, and then like we'll just alternate. If it doesn't work this next time, so it's fine. We'll work around it.
Yeah, you guys tap the screen as much as you possibly can. We have another two heavy hitters on the panel in Wi-Fi Gospel and Daniel, and so support the live as much as possible in this debate. This is going to fare to be a great one, I would presume.
Okay. So I think we'll try to make do. Hopefully the audio will work throughout the debate. But we're gonna start with the affirmatives 7-minute opener. That's gonna be Wi-Fi Gospel. The topic is the Christian God good? Here, let me grab the timer and we will start that now. And you can start. I'll start the timer when you say your first word.
Awesome. Thank you, Coco and Jay, for putting this together. Thank you, Daniel, for being my partner. I know there was a last-minute dropout. I'm happy to fill that position, so appreciate being here. I just want to start off by saying that Euthyphro's dilemma is a false dilemma. Something is not good merely because God commands it, nor does God command things because they are good independent of himself. God's commandments are good because they reflect his nature, and evil is a privation of good. Now let's talk about Daniel's worldview. If Daniel's worldview is true, what does it mean for anything to be good or evil? Right or wrong? In order for God to be good in Daniel's worldview, it would simply rely on the individual preferences of a person. Since preferences are equal, there's no way for Daniel to tell me that my preference that God is good is wrong. There's also no way to differentiate between Daniel's preference that God is not good and my preference that he is. In other words, there are no moral facts. A moral fact includes a descriptive moral judgment that is true for all individuals, such as being a PDF file is wrong, and descriptive moral judgments that are true of one individual, such as Daniel is good. If morality is subjective, there are no moral facts, and therefore it cannot be true that anything is good or evil. The problem with this is that Daniel himself will not be consistent with this view. How do I know this? When I ask someone who believes morality is subjective, is being a PDF file wrong, they often respond with yes, to me it is, or yes, I think it is. But that's not actually answering the question consistently with the idea that morality is subjective. Saying that you think something is saying that you believe that something is. So again, saying that you think something is saying that you believe that something is true. If there are no moral facts, you can't believe that a moral judgment is true. So what they mean when they answer with yes to me, or yes, I think it is actually, I prefer that people are not PDF files. I don't care about your preferences. I want to know the truth of the matter. It's like asking what happens when you mix baking soda and vinegar, and getting the answer, well, it's my preference that it bubbles. No, it does bubble. It's not based on opinion or preference. It's a fact. In the same way, the question, is being a PDF file wrong isn't about how you feel about it. I'm asking if being a PDF file is wrong is a true statement. If morality is truly subjective, then being a PDF file is wrong has no more weight than I don't like broccoli. We all know instinctively it's more than that. I'm asking for the truth of the matter. And if there is no truth of the matter, then your answer has to be no. Being a PDF file is not wrong. In the same way, and this is extremely important because this ends the debate right here, if I say God is good and there are no moral facts, then Daniel can't consistently say that I am wrong for having that opinion. He can't even say that the opinion itself is actually wrong. He can only say that he holds a different opinion. That's what a preference is. So in both my worldview and Daniel's worldview, there is nothing actually wrong with saying God is good. That's not actually a false statement. Now, Daniel's probably going to bring up things in the Bible that God has done that he feels are wrong. So what? I don't care if Daniel feels that everything God has done is wrong. Daniel's subjective feelings and preferences hold no weight on the matter if God is good or not. If you don't like that God commands the Israelites to go to war with other nations and unalive men, women, and children, then be consistent. You also must not like that God takes any life. Why stop at gender? Why stop at age? What's the difference between God taking the life of a 90-year-old and a 1-year-old? What if that 1-year-old dies and goes into a blessed state? I don't have a problem with God taking life, and neither does Daniel. If you don't like that God allows the Israelites to own slaves, then be consistent. When someone commits a heinous crime, yell at them, say bad boy, put them in the corner, and tell them not to do it again. But also do nothing, because imprisoning them would be a form of slavery. Forcing someone against their will to live in a box separated from society, caged up like a wild animal, told when to wake up, when to eat, when to shower, when to go to bed, and economically benefiting off of their incarceration is a form of slavery. The state owns those people. Now, what happens if a prisoner refuses when they are told to go back into their cell because it's time for bed? Do we call their mother? Do we tell them to go into timeout? No, we go get the riot gear and we forcibly constrain and support that unruly prisoner back into their cell using as much force as necessary. I don't have a problem with certain forms of slavery, and neither does Daniel. See, not only is Daniel stuck with my preferences, bro, he applies those preferences wholly inconsistently and holds every other worldview to a higher standard than his own. If God is not good, then nothing is good. There are good things, therefore God is good. Thank you. That's my time.
Okay, gotcha. I'm ending your time, and you had 1 minute and 36 seconds left. So now, Daniel, you're gonna do your opening statement. It's going to be 7 minutes. I'll mute to help with the echo, but I will start the timer whenever you say your first word.
Can I just check my audio first, perhaps? Is that working now? Without echo?
Actually, I think this is perfect, actually.
Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. Hey, thank you so much for the heads up. I appreciate that, dude. Thank you for all the gifts so far, too. That's crazy. For the audience, who most of whom I assume do not know who I am, my name is Daniel Green, and I will be arguing that the Christian God is not good. At 32, I am a former Christian. Despite being indoctrinated into Christianity during childhood, and having even intended to become a qualified religious education teacher, I've come to believe that there is no sound argument or coherent body of evidence in support of Christianity being true. Related to the absence of my belief in Yahweh existing is my deep and sincere repulsion at their moral code, both as described in the Bible and as observed throughout post-biblical history. Hypothetically granting their existence for the sake of tonight's debate, of course. My repulsion is not something that I believe I can help, and I accurately anticipated that Alex would accuse me of not having grounds upon which to claim that there is anything wrong with any of Yahweh's actions or commands. I anticipate that he will claim it's not really possible for any of Yahweh's actions to not be good, because it's largely by his authority that anything is determined to be objectively good in the first place. That is according to Yahweh conveniently. I believe Alex is likely to accuse me of using my own subjective experiences, I was right there too, to inform my moral standards, which will be accurate of him to say. But as a Christian presuppositionalist, he will do this under the pretense that he has access to a superior, more objective Christian authority from which he can derive his own moral standards, which I don't believe to be the case. I believe Alex, just like the rest of us, is experiencing reality subjectively, and as such has only ever been able to construct his own beliefs and moral standards in response to what he has experienced. Again, just like the rest of us. Because of this, I believe Alex's definition of what constitutes good will be just as valid as anyone else's has ever been, including the audience's and my own. But I'll be hoping that the audience is honest with themselves while listening to the debate and when reflecting afterwards, in asking themselves whether or not they sincerely believe the allegedly all-powerful, all-knowing Yahweh can really be considered definitively good. I would ask the audience to note the double standards we're expected to ignore when it comes to Christian morality. As beings that are certainly not all-powerful or all-knowing, we still aim to hold each other to an appropriate degree of accountability, one that's roughly proportional to our powers of moral reasoning and our ability to act upon them given our stage of development. Yeehaw, cowboy, thank you. For example, we do not hold young children to the degree of accountability as we do older children, nor do we hold older children to the same degree of accountability as adults. Again, because we understand that different degrees of power to reason and act morally are reached as we develop. But when it comes to Yahweh, an eternally all-powerful, all-knowing entity, the bar that we otherwise set, proportional to our ability to consider, carry out, and reflect upon our actions, no longer exists. Does this seem like a fair arrangement? Would the audience prefer to live in a society in which the most powerful are held to the lowest moral accountability? Should we consider a system like this to be the design of a good God? You may have heard Christians defend Yahweh's abuses of power with a token, his ways are higher than ours. But when confronted with how Yahweh chooses to wield his omnipotence, being told that it's Yahweh or the highway is not good enough for me. I wouldn't accept the most powerful human conceivable personally assuring me of the goodness of their actions, while they both command and personally commit the slaughter of children and infants. So why would I abandon that standard altogether in order to accept the same actions from a supremely powerful being with an unlimited number of options at their disposal in any given moment? Self-appointed dictators are to be resisted, not worshipped or thanked for showing mercy in the form of having chosen slightly less reprehensible courses of action than they otherwise could have. The Bible is full of examples of Yahweh legislating, condoning, committing, or otherwise commanding his followers to commit acts that I think the audience would almost certainly not sincerely accept as those of an all-good, supremely powerful being. He commands the Israelites to slaughter various neighboring Canaanite tribes, including their children and their infants, for the crimes of their ancestors at that, or for occupying land that he's decided he wants the Israelites to live on. He legislates the marrying off of graped virgin daughters to their grapists and prohibits them from being divorced. He condones the taking of non-Hebrews as property that Hebrews can bequeath to their children as inheritance. He condemns all of humanity with original sin for the actions of the first two humans that he ever made, despite, mind you, knowing full well that they would fall short of meeting his demands before he even chose to make them in the first place. Honk honk. He punishes all of Egypt following Pharaoh's refusal to free the Israelites, a refusal which Yahweh himself planned and ensured would come to pass. All this without even having yet touched on the innumerable examples of him choosing not to act when doing so would alleviate or avoid unnecessary and abject pain and suffering, while costing him absolutely nothing. The list of Yahweh's misuses and abuses of power really could go on for quite some time, but perhaps it would be best to make sure you as the audience have just read the Bible for yourself and learned a little bit about the shocking events of history as we understand them to be. I have nothing more for now.
Okay. Pausing your time, and you had 25 seconds left on the clock.
Thank you.
So right now we're going to start the cross-examinations. Let me take a look. So it's going to be 5-minute cross-examinations. Wi-Fi Gospel, you're going to be asking your questions first. I'll start it whenever you say your first word.
Hey, Daniel.
Hi, man.
So,
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Pal.
Good. Based on your opening statement, would you say that moral facts do not exist?
I don't believe that they necessarily do.
Is being a PDF file wrong?
To confirm your suspicion, I believe it is. I don't believe we should support it or condone it, no.
So when you say you believe it is, it means that you believe that statement to be true, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay. But if there are no moral facts, that statement can neither be true or false. Isn't that right?
I'm not claiming certainty of objective morality. I'm just stating my
I didn't
beliefs.
ask for certainty. Yeah, so when you say that you believe something, it means that you believe something is true, right?
I believe it's more likely to be true than an alternative, yeah.
Okay. But if there are no moral facts, then a moral statement cannot be true and cannot be false. So you saying you believe it to be true, wouldn't that be a contradiction in your worldview?
No, because I don't think that claiming belief of something is the same as stating certainty of it.
Right, but I'm not sure you're understanding it. When you say you believe something, you're making a judgment about a proposition. You're saying that this proposition, as you said, is most likely true, right?
I believe it is more likely to be true than false, yes.
Okay.
Can
But
you?
if
I'm
there
I'm
are
open
no-
to reason to believe otherwise.
Right. No, I would agree with you, but not based on the same grounding here. The question for you is, if there are no moral facts, can a moral statement be true or false?
We can believe so. I think Christians can believe that they have objective morality too, but I don't think that they can necessarily have certainty of that either.
So,
That's my belief.
so are there moral facts or not, Daniel?
To repeat myself, I don't believe that there necessarily are.
Okay, that's satisfactory. Let's see here. Earlier, you said that you have a repulsion of moral code. Is that merely your preference?
Yeah, I can't help it. I can't help that I find Yahweh.
Your preference. Why is your preference better than anyone else's preference?
Well, I can't say that it objectively is, but I can give reasons for why I hold to it.
Okay, so if your preference is not better than anyone else's preference, how do we know which preference is right?
I don't think that we can know objectively.
Okay, so if
It's
my
frustrating.
preference...
Don't get me wrong.
My
it's
preference
frustrating.
is- Okay, that's fine. If my preference is that God is good, could that preference be wrong?
Sure.
Wait a minute. You just said that preferences, if you have a preference and I have a preference, we can't tell which one is right or wrong. So how can you tell my preference is wrong?
I don't think we can know that it's wrong, but it might be.
Okay.
You asked me if it could be wrong, not if it is wrong.
All right. All right. So is my preference that God is good wrong?
I believe that it is, yes.
Okay, so you have a different preference, right?
Correct.
Okay. That doesn't mean my preference is wrong just because you have a different preference, right?
Correct. Not objectively, that's right.
Okay. So you have no way of telling that my preference is wrong.
I have reason to believe that yours is wrong. But again, I'm not
that's
claiming,
fine.
at no point am I claiming certainty of moral fact at all. At no point have I ever done that.
Well, there are no moral facts, right?
I'm not convinced that there necessarily are, no.
Okay. Now you said that we have to hold each other accountable. Why is that?
We don't have to. I didn't say that we have to. I say that we tend to.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if my preference is that we don't hold each other accountable, then that's just fine as well too, right?
Not by me, no.
Right, but again, you can't say that my preference is wrong.
Not objectively, but I can give you reasons as to why
Not
I
even
believe that it is.
subjectively. You can just hold a
Do
different
you?
preference.
Are you a solipsist?
No, not at all. This has nothing to do with this.
Well, I am experiencing reality subjectively, unless you don't believe me. You don't have to believe me. You can think that I'm just a
Right,
figment of
so-
your imagination, but
It, again, has nothing to do with this debate. if you say that you like chocolate, actually, what is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
My favorite flavor, I like bubblegum. You know that light blue one?
That is pretty good, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
it's your
like it.
preference when you go to the ice cream store. If they have light blue bubble gum, that's what you're gonna get.
Yeah, and I don't see that my preference of ice cream flavored,
Yeah,
hurts
that's fine.
anyone
Okay,
either.
fine. My preference, and again, whether hurting someone is wrong or not is also a preference.
Okay,
But we don't have
finish
to go
your
there.
last sentence.
All right. So my point here is that if my preference is to have cake batter ice cream, can you say that my preference is wrong?
Okay.
No,
We'll
and I
stop
don't think
there.
it's important either because you're probably not hurting anyone by preferring that either.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, I should have let you answer that question. But okay, Daniel, you're gonna start your cross examination. You get 5 minutes, and I'll start the timer when you say your first word.
Sure, thank you so much. Do you believe that any punishment dealt out by any arbiter of justice should be proportionate to the perceived crimes committed?
Yes, as well as proportionate to who the crime is committed against.
Got you. Okay. Do you have children?
I do.
Right. Do you love them?
I do.
Yeah, me too. I got a little daughter. You got a daughter or sons or?
3 boys.
Hooey. Holy Trinity. As a parent, do you believe that the punishments or consequences that you choose to deal out to your children who you love should be proportional to any transgression that they commit?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Me too. Imagine that you had a child that was born without the capacity for moral reasoning. That part of the brain just didn't develop, maybe. In the middle of this child's playpen, you choose to place a button which, when pressed, will cause the child's ability to reason morally to spontaneously develop. Imagine you command that child not to press the button that you chose to put in the middle of their playpen. Yet sometime later, they end up pressing it. Now, they do have the ability to reason morally. Do you believe it would be just to punish the child?
Within your analogy and within my limited capabilities, no, but I don't think your analogy is one-to-one with the garden.
I'm not saying that it necessarily is. I'm just trying to get, thoughts out there. You don't believe the analogy is one-to-one. That's fine. You don't think it would be just to punish the child. Cool. I don't either. I don't think that would be proportionate whatsoever. Do you believe it would be proportionate to the child's failure to adhere to your commands, to curse their descendants for all time?
You said is this before they have the capability to reason morally?
Yeah.
If they don't have the capability to reason morally, I don't think it would be just to punish them or their descendants, no.
Okay. So, in your mind, what makes it just for Yahweh to condemn all of humanity for the actions that Adam and Eve couldn't help commit?
I thought you weren't going there, but let's. It's funny. No, yeah.
I didn't
so
say it wasn't
the
going there.
reason-
I said I recognize it wasn't necessarily a one-to-one analogy.
Okay. So the reason for this is because God told Adam and Eve, one, they had moral responsibility. They had the ability to reason morally. Eating from the knowledge of, or the tree of good and evil, saying that they had the knowledge of good and evil wasn't that they couldn't reason morally. It was the ability to choose good and evil for themselves. So it's just a misunderstanding there. Also, the reason their descendants were punished was because they were given mercy. They were told that they would die the day that they ate of the tree of good and evil. But they didn't die. Instead, God slaughtered an animal and clothed them and kept them alive so that he could redeem them. And part of doing that was that their descendants were cursed.
Was it necessary for God to do all of this?
God freely chose to create beings with free will. Was it necessary that he create? No.
Okay, so he chose to create a scenario within which he knew these people that didn't have the ability to morally reason because they had not yet eaten from the fruit of
Wrong
knowledge of good
presupposition
and
there.
evil. Do you deny that it was upon eating from the tree
Yes.
That's when they got the understanding of what's right and wrong.
Yes.
Okay. So what were they lacking before they ate from the fruit?
I'm not sure that they were lacking anything. They had the ability to choose the good from the wrong, and they chose the wrong.
So they didn't gain anything from eating from the tree of fruit and knowledge.
No, they actually they lost a lot. They went against the command of God, and God cursed them because of it.
Okay, so they had knowledge of what's good and evil before eating from the tree that is the source of good and evil.
Yeah, just because the tree is the knowledge of the fruit is the knowledge of the good and evil doesn't mean that they didn't have the ability to reason morally.
Okay, what do you think
That's not Christian
constitutes
doctrine.
what must precede? Well, maybe not your denomination. What do you believe must precede the ability to reason morally?
Free will.
Okay, got it. Was it possible, given the scenario that Yahweh knew he was going to set up before even setting up the Garden of Eden, was it possible for Adam and Eve, to surprise God in any way?
Okay, answer that
Not that
question,
God-
and that'll be it.
Yeah, not that God would be surprised, but God's knowledge does not determine human actions.
Okay.
Okay,
We'll stop
thank
right
you.
there. We're going to start the second round of cross-examination. Wi-Fi Gospel, it's your turn again, and I'll start the timer when you say your first word.
All right, is it your preference that it's good, evil, or morally neutral to own an animal?
Personally, I think it depends how you acquired them. I have 2 rescue dogs, which I think would be worse off if they were left where they were before I bought them off of their owners at that time. I think I take better care of them than they otherwise would have got.
So is it
But
good
otherwise,
for you to own them?
I think it's better for me to take responsibility for their health and well-being than for them to be on the street or something. Yeah,
Okay. Is it good for you to own them?
I think it's better for me to own them. Yeah.
The question is it good?
Look, I don't know that I.
Can you please
Like the
just
term
answer
ownership?
the question? So
Yeah,
how do you
I
not
think
own
I
an
am answering the
animal?
question. Excuse me.
How do you not own an animal?
Well, I think it depends on what you mean by ownership, like legal ownership or just like possession of the object, or
Legal ownership? Do you legally own your pets, or did you get them illegally?
under Australian law, I own my pets. Yes.
Okay.
But I
Is it
just
a good
consider
thing that you
myself
own
to
your
be.
pets?
Excuse me.
Is it good to own your pets?
Not necessarily. No, I think it's good that I take
No?
good care of them.
So why do you own them if it's not a good thing to own them?
Well, because under Australian law, which I don't think is the arbiter of
I
what's
just
right
think
and
you're
wrong.
dodging me.
I don't mind if you feel that way. Under Australian law,
Is it?
I can't take these
it's all right,
animals.
it's my time. Is it morally evil to neglect providing the biological and psychological needs of the animal?
I don't think so. No.
Sorry, you didn't hear me. Is it morally evil or wrong to neglect providing the biological and psychological needs of the animal?
Oh, I apologize.
neglect them. Yeah.
I believe it would be worse. Yes, to do
True or false? According to science and biology, humans are animals.
that. True.
Okay, if humans are animals and it's okay to own animals, does it logically follow that it's okay to own humans?
Well, again, I didn't say that I think it is okay to own animals.
Oh,
I said that
so
under
you're just a
Australian
hypocrite
law.
because you do own animals.
No, I said under Australian law, for me to take these animals required me to take what Australian government considers to be ownership of them. I'm a vegan.
Okay.
I don't consume animals. I don't purchase animal products. I'm concerned with taking
Yeah,
care
you
of
just
animals
own
as
them.
best I can. Because in Australia, I'm not allowed to just take things without paying for them.
So if somebody found a dog in the wilderness and took them into their home, would they own them?
No, no, I don't think so. They might
No,
have,
they
they might
wouldn't.
have
So what
taken.
would they be a part of their family?
The people could consider that if they want. I don't know.
So does this dog live in the house? Can they stop the dog from escaping? Like what's going on here?
It depends on the family.
Okay.
Oh, there are
This is
people who
just a
don't
dodge
have
the other
fences.
question, That's fine.
It's not a dodge of the question. There are people around the world who aren't.
originally.
Okay.
I just want to restate. Since there are no moral facts, when I say that God is good, you earlier said that you have a different preference, but I want you to just say again for the audience, it's not wrong for me to hold that preference, right?
Not objectively, no.
In any sense.
Not objectively.
Okay.
No.
Back to the ice cream example. Is it wrong for me to hold the preference that cake batter is the ice cream that I prefer?
No.
Okay, so
I
why
don't believe
can't you
so.
just answer no to the earlier the question I asked? I asked you about preferences. Why do you have to pre-qualify it with objective?
I think what I qualify it with is that I don't believe so. I think you don't like that I don't claim certainty of things.
No, because it seems like when I ask you about the ice cream example, you just say no. But when I ask you about if being a PDF file is wrong, you say not objectively. You have to qualify it because I think you understand that it makes you look bad by being consistent with your worldview.
I don't mind if you feel that way.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm content with that. I think this puts a nice ribbon on it.
Okay,
I
cool.
can see the rest of my time.
Okay, I'm pausing the time, and you had 26 seconds left. Daniel, you will start your cross-examination, and then we will continue to final statements. You got 5 minutes, and I'll start whenever you say your first word.
Cool. If you had in front of you a big red button, I feel like I'm in good company here today with Ian bringing up a big red button analogy too. But if you had a big red button in front of you that, if pressed, would heal all cancer, would it be good to not press it?
For me to not heal all cancer, would it be good for me to not press it?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Is God able to heal all cancer?
Yes.
Okay. If you had in front of you a big red button that, if pressed, would remove the desire to molest children from the mind of all P3Os, including the thousands of P3O priests, would it be good to not press it?
Now, me being with limited capabilities and not understanding the essence of free will as a God would, yeah, I would press the button in my human will.
Is God able to remove the desire to molest children from the minds of all P3Os, including the thousands of P3O priests?
Yeah, while God, and I like the little quip at the end there, school teachers by far outweigh any church members committing these acts. That's a blatant fact. So if we were to try to remove it from all the school teachers, God has that ability, yes. The reason he doesn't do so is out of my limited reasoning.
Sure. You just accept it.
He has a moral justification for it, but in your worldview, it's not wrong. It's just you don't like it. So.
Sure, but you accept it. You accept him choosing not to help out. Cool. Okay. If you had in front of you a big red button, I'm just going to ask the next question. If you had in front of you a big red button that, if pressed, would solve world hunger, preventing millions of children from dying from painful and prolonged starvation every year, would it be good to not press it?
Again, you keep conflating God's ability.
I'm just gonna ask that you respond to my question directly, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I did. You're presupposing that mine and God's ability are the same.
No, I'm not doing that actually. That question doesn't contain any reference to God. It's a question to you. Would you press that button?
Personally, yes. Now, does that mean it's wrong for God not to do
I'm
that?
I'm not asking about that yet.
Yes,
That's
you
my
are.
next question.
You're implying
I reclaim my time.
I'm
I'm not asking you. No,
Yeah.
Wi-Fi.
I see exactly where
Just
you're going.
relax. Just relax. I'm not asking about God yet. That is coming up, but you just need to wait a sec.
Oh, like I said.
So you think that it wouldn't be good to not press the button?
For me, yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. Is God able to solve world hunger, preventing millions of children from dying a painful and prolonged death?
Yes.
Okay, interesting. If you had a big red button that, if pressed, would trigger an earthquake, killing tens of thousands, injuring hundreds of thousands, and leaving millions homeless, would it be good to press that button?
Only if they were all atheists.
Fascinating. If you had a big red button that, if pressed, would spawn the birth of psychopaths, so humans without the capacity to empathize or care about the suffering that they cause, would it be good to press that button?
only if they harmed atheists.
Okay, got it. Could God have chosen not to create Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, or Albert Fish?
To say that God is responsible for their sin would be a wrong assumption. You have many wrong assumptions here tonight. But God could have created any way He wanted to.
I'm just gonna bring back to the question. Is this a yes or no? I know you like these ones.
Oh,
Could God have chosen to
you didn't
not
like answering yes
create?
or no.
I don't mind if you're feeling frustrated, but
very-
this is the question for now. Could God have chosen to not create Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, and Albert Fish, knowing before having created them that they would go on to do what they did?
Yes, God could choose to do what He wants. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Do you believe that causing unnecessary pain and suffering is good?
I don't believe that God causes unnecessary pain and suffering.
That's not really what I asked. I asked, do you believe that causing unnecessary pain and suffering is good?
No.
Okay, got it. Do you believe that heaven exists?
Yeah.
Okay. How much unnecessary pain and suffering do you believe occurs in heaven?
None.
Okay. Do you believe that unnecessary pain and suffering occurs here in this universe and on earth?
Unnecessary. Can you define that? Can you define what you mean in that context?
Pain and suffering that could have been prevented or avoided.
Okay, answer that question and that'll be it.
No, God does not provide a world with unnecessary pain and suffering.
Okay, we'll stop right there. That'll be the end of the cross-examination rounds, and we're going to go to the final statements, starting off with WifiGospel. You got 3 minutes, and I'll start it whenever you say your first word.
All right, very simply. The prompt is the Christian God good? Under my worldview, yes, obviously, the Christian God is good. Under Daniel's worldview, moral facts don't exist. So the statement, is the Christian God good? Neither true or false. It just is a statement. It's basically incoherent in Daniel's worldview. So by default, when I say God is good, even under Daniel's worldview, my preference isn't wrong, and this statement isn't false. Looks like I've won the debate. Appreciate you guys having me here. Thank you for my time.
Are you sure you want to end there? 2 minutes and 13 seconds left on the clock. Daniel, I will start your 3 minutes whenever you say your first word.
Certainly, thank you. And again, thank you so much for organising tonight. I again, never been part of a formal debate, so it's humbling to have been thought of someone worth inviting on. It means a ton, really. Yeah, again, right from the get-go, I recognise that it is frustrating that we don't have an objective source of morality to which we can turn and derive a clear answer that everyone can agree to about what's morally right and wrong. I agree that that's frustrating. But it's what we observe being most likely to be the case. Throughout history and around the globe, the average person's moral compass tends to be in alignment with whatever religious doctrine it is that they've been indoctrinated into from their childhood, typically, or whatever it is that they convert into after having some kind of mystical experience that they couldn't think of a rational explanation for. That doesn't mean that they're right either. This discomfort that we feel with not having an objective source of morality to which we can turn in times of frustration, that can feel as though it's solved by submitting to some doctrine that people have believed for thousands of years. But again, that does not mean that that's true either. That is, again, another preference. Another preference. A preference for Christian morality is no more definitive of a good answer to the question, what's right or wrong, than a preference to any other religious doctrine. Nor is it better than a non-religious framework. Personally, and I encourage the audience to ask themselves sincerely, when this is all over and you go away and you start thinking about how this went, ask yourself sincerely, would you, if you had the power that Yahweh allegedly has, if we grant the Bible to be half accurate, if we grant that to be half accurate, if you had the power that Yahweh allegedly has, would you make the choices that they do? Would you refuse to contribute the way that they seem to continue refusing to tribute? Thank you for the gifts. This is absolutely wild. I don't know what to do with all that, to be honest. He chooses actively to allow suffering that he could, at no cost to himself, prevent, alleviate, ameliorate. He punishes people collectively for the actions of one or two people sometimes. He chooses to punish people for the actions of their ancestors. My father's been to jail for committing crimes against the state that I live in. Should I have to go to jail for that too? I understand that the judges that run the Australian court system are not all-powerful, all-knowing entities.
Finish your last sentence.
But I don't think that we should have to be, in order to use our ability to empathize and reason, to think about what we think is sincerely fair and right. Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay. It is an honor to host both of you guys. Thank you very much. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
and thank you everybody for the gifts. I appreciate that as well.
Okay. Yeah, my phone is running out of power, but I plugged it into the charger, so I can't use my mic anymore. But hopefully, you guys can still hear me. Dude, this is awesome. I have Daniel and WifiGospel on my live debating. It's an honor to host these debates and be able to have everybody like listen in and learn something, and contribute to having like that kind of live and bringing formal debates to TikTok. So thank you guys very much. I'm gonna put the poll up to see who
And
won.
I know things get heated during the debate, but absolutely no hard feelings, Daniel. And if you ever want to do another debate, I'm always game.
I presume that you're joking when you say that it would only be okay if all atheists were terminated under these hypotheticals. I don't know that it's necessarily helpful, but I do prefer to assume that you're only joking.
It's a joke, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that Yahweh is joking, if real, but that's another conversation, perhaps.
Let's see. And I'm about to start the poll. And we have like 3 minutes. I could probably bring up a couple of guests before our next debate. And I'll probably do that, get some thoughts on like what the debate was like. And we'll go from there. Wi-Fi Daniel. And yep, I just started the poll. Everybody that's in the live, there's 257 people in here. Go and vote on the poll and tell me who you think won. But I'll bring up like one or two guests, and then we'll get on to our like next debate. Hey, Lauren, you got anything to say about the debate or any questions you want to ask? Oh no, apparently you didn't.
I was so excited. I thought I was going to finally get to talk to Lauren. She's been in my chat for like years.
Oh,
Another time.
I think something happened. She requested again.
Oh, good.
She's back in teacupping. Lauren.
I like tea.
Wonder, is there like a connection issue maybe, or? I don't know. There might be a connection issue. Okay, Lauren, we might get to you later.
Thoughts and prayers.
Okay, I'll still do like two people. I'll like select random. I got like a long list of people. Sure. You know what? I'll do He Is Risen. Hey, you got any comments or questions about the debate He Is Risen?
Yeah, first of all, I think Daniel, you did very swimmingly well for this being your first debate. I was shocked when you said that this was your first debate. Wi-Fi, I think you lost points with the audience with the, if only if it was atheist, I think you lost points with that. But I do think that your rebuttal, I think that's really the defeater here, which is there is no objective standard, to which I do think Daniel did concede to. But in terms of just audience approval, like Daniel, I think you took it by that stance. So I think there's two ways to vote on this, but that's my take on it.
Yeah, bet. Thank you
I
for your
appreciate you,
candor. And I'll get to the next guest just due to time. But thank you, he has risen. We'll talk more in the future.
Very
Yeah.
kind of you, man. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, no problem, dude. This is awesome. Like this is what I want to do all the time, and I even want to debate more people like this all the time. This is like surreal. Like what the heck? Like I got so many people in here and hosting formal debates on TikTok. This is my passion project.
You do a good job with these events, Coco.
Hey, how's it going?
And I appreciate you guys because you want to work with me. People want to work with me. I appreciate the people that give me a chance and want to work with me and connect me with people. So I appreciate you guys for being here. But that one guy, what do you got to say? Any questions? Any pointers that you want to give? Any thoughts?
Hey, yeah, so just in regards to what the last guy said, I don't think you should be necessarily judging a debate based upon what the audience thinks. But Daniel, I think one of the main things, I think you did well if this is your first formal debate. I had my first formal debate a few weeks ago, and it's pretty stressful trying to get the structure down and everything. You did well, but I think the one thing that really got past you was the fact that Wi-Fi's entire point was that if everything just comes down to your own subjective opinion, you can't really call God evil by any metric. And then on top of that, when it comes down to your preferences, you can have a preference against God. It doesn't mean that he's evil. It just means that you disapprove of whatever you think he has done that is wrong. But wrong is all subjective in your standpoint as well. So,
Yeah, I certainly don't think that we have to accept Yahweh's described morality either. That's a choice that we can make. It's not necessary for us to do that, I don't believe. But I think you're very kind to encourage me for however I did today. It's lovely to meet you. I hope you jump in the live sometime.
definitely. I think I gave the host a follow already. But yeah, Daniel, I understand that. I don't want to take up too much time. Sorry, so I'll speed it up for the host.
That's cool.
I don't think you're getting what I'm saying though. Is that if the title of the debate is God evil, right? Or what was the exact title? How was it
Is the
worded?
Christian God good?
Oh, is the Christian God good? Okay. So whether or not he is taking the affirmative that the Christian God is good, and you are making you're taking the negative position that he's not in fact good. If you're defining good as any arbitrary thing based upon your own preferences, you don't really have any ground by which to say he's not, right?
I don't think anyone does. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Well,
That's the thing.
that's where
I
you
think
kind
that
of lost it.
yeah, I don't mind that. I'm not really here to like collect W's or anything. I'm much more interested in having the kind of conversations that I wish I had people in my life to have these conversations with when I was still a Christian. I don't think that it is an easy process to fully accept that our subjectivity limits us when it comes to being able to claim certainty of what's right or wrong definitively. It wasn't easy for me to fully grapple with that when I was deconstructing. But ultimately, I had to ask myself whether I was more interested in believing things that were comfortable or whether I believe things that I think are honestly actually more likely to be true. And I just don't honestly think that it's true that anyone has access to objective morals. Whether that's comfortable for anyone or not, I'm not really concerned with. I just don't think that it's true.
Do you think that we have access to objective truth?
I think that we can pursue it. And I think that sometimes we can even feel as though we've arrived at it. But I don't think that we can necessarily know that for sure. I wish we could.
So when you say you don't think that it's true that we can arrive at moral truths, right, or moral facts, isn't this kind of a self-defeating claim that you're making here?
And
Because I've never claimed certainty of
Also,
my
yeah,
morality.
sorry, I'm taking up too much time. Yeah, drop me, bring somebody else up. Yeah,
okay. But yeah,
I was just waiting to be dropped by the host. Sorry. Good.
You're totally fine. And I'll follow you back. I appreciate the support. I'm definitely gonna follow you back. But okay, guys, Wi-Fi Gospel, Daniel, I'll drop you guys, and then we'll get on to the next debate. But it was an honor having two brilliant minds here. So I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Daniel Wi-Fi, thank you
Thank you.
for giving us a great debate. That was very, very awesome. And hope to see you guys around. Daniel, I'm usually on your Sunday lives.
It's an honor.
Pretty much always there. Wi-Fi, I've seen many of your lives. I think I've been on 3 or 4 of them. But yeah, both of you guys, heavy hitters, and you guys are doing awesome. And thank you very much for doing what you did here. And yeah, we'll see you guys around. Thank you.
Wait, actually, before we drop you, before we drop you, let me do one of my friends a favor. We have like a couple minutes, but let me get Robbie Rob up here because we do have a couple minutes to spare, but he'll be the last one. Robbie, you got anything for us?
Yeah, I just want to be like, I'll be very quick with it. Obviously, look, Daniel clearly won that whole debate. I was actually kind of shocked that like Wi-Fi, the way that it came out, because I've heard he's supposed to be a good debater, but it didn't flow that well. Look, the issue that Wi-Fi had is he never actually presented an actual argument for objective morals being true, right? And so every time he kept on having a conversation with Daniel and providing different scenarios, he would just keep asking Daniel, what does he think about these situations? And Daniel would just say, subjectively, I feel that this is the situation, how I feel about it, right? It's my attitude towards a proposition. And then Wi-Fi just kept making declarative sentences, right? But he never gave an actual argument on why objective morals are true, right? And so Daniel can just reject that. And so that's the issue. That's why he lost the debate, right? That's it. Daniel won.
At the end of my opening statement, I gave a syllogism, just so you know. It's called an argument.
Look, either way, it was an absolute honor. Thank you, Coco. Thank you, Jay. Thank you so much, Alex. And thank you, audience. I hope you enjoy the rest of your time here. Such a sick lineup. Like, it's been amazing. I caught Ian and Jason earlier. That was crazy. It was really, really good fun. Thank you for doing this, Coco. Thanks heaps, man.
Definitely.
Thank you, guys.
I love this. Thank you, both of you. You guys are awesome.
Peace.
Let me expand my thing.
Coco, that's crazy, dude.
What's up?
That's crazy, bro. You just had Daniel on your freaking platform, bro. I'm like, what the fuck? I just talked to Daniel. Like, oh my God, dude. That's crazy, man.
All of these lineups are amazing, brilliant individuals. We are going to move on to our next debate event.